Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll Podcast. My name is Ryan.
And I think it's dangerous to go alone, so take this.
And today, we're going to be going over. So it's our second kind of like Zelda inspired game in 3 weeks. But
Right.
last week we also did princesses, so I feel like we're kind of on like a quasi.
I feel like we did Princesses and Perils because that project was running. I think our original idea was we were going to do some video game-esque inspired ones back to back.
Right.
That one
Right.
is more of a fairy tale inspired one.
Right.
But there's princesses and stuff.
There's a little bit of crossover in it, but yes, originally
Listen, if you can well define that crossover, leave a comment.
There's princesses, there's castles, there's swords. Yeah. Today we're doing Heroes of Ceruleea.
Woo!
As Hunter said, originally the plan, I think when you had suggested to do Forgotten Ballad, we decided to do it. We were going to do Heroes of Ceruleea right after, but then I saw that the Perils and Princess Kickstarter was going on, and I was like, this is a perfect time. I want to do this one forever. That was a fun one. That was a great one. If you guys didn't check that out, definitely go. It is now one of I probably put it in my top like 3 intro games that I would play new players with, probably. Good
Absolutely.
Game. Yeah. But so it's funny because we both are looking. So anyone that watched Forgotten Ballad knows that I never really played the Zelda games. I did a little bit. I did a little bit of Ocarina of Time, moved on. I did not have that nostalgia. But it's funny because over the past year or two, you had a Zelda game that you really liked, Forgotten Ballad. And then I was all in on Heroes of Ceruleea, which is a game we're going over today. And it's interesting that we both got them roughly at the same time. And now we're going to go over them 1 week in between. But this one's definitely, it's different. It's interesting how two things inspired by the same thing are so different.
Yeah, it definitely shows off a different aspect of the inspiration. The other one's a lot more magic pastoral vibe, and this one is more of a video game.
Yeah. I don't know if we've ever looked at one that's more of a video game than this.
I don't think we have. I think this is maybe the most video gaming, and it really leans into it. I think it does it well.
Yeah.
And it's obviously very on purpose. I think sometimes, I read some small stuff where there's some maybe video game logic accidentally slid in there, but this one's hard leaning into it and using it well.
Yeah. I mean, I think at one point we'll go over it. It literally says one of the prime GM principles is lean into the video gaminess of it. Just do it. But yeah. So again, today we're going over Heroes of Ceruleea. This is a game put out by Blackfisk Publishing. There's a K on the end of it, not Blackfish, even though there's kind of like an octopusy guy. So I thought it was Blackfish for a long time, and then
so did I.
Yeah. But it's a K because if you go to Blackfish Pub on Twitter, it's now Lucas Falk. But anyway, so we're going to go over that today. So why don't we hop into that a little bit? Why don't we hop in? So first, this was a project on Kickstarter. It funded on October 6th, 2022. And what's that?
3 days after my birthday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got Lucas Falk in the chat right now. They said Blackfisk is an octopus or squid in Swedish.
Cool.
There we go. So this project successfully funded October 6th, 2022 with 1,023 backers pledging 434,261. So I know it's not SEK. I think it's kroners. I don't feel like I'm saying that right. But that is the Swedish currency, which I mostly know from backing. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
All of these
know
people.
What you're talking about. all the Stockholm.
Simbaroom, yeah, all those things.
We're doing great so far.
We're killing it, and that is 41,000 kroner, KRONOR. I was right. There we go.
Yeah,
that's just over 41,000 USD for Heroes of Ceruleea. I went all in on it, so let's flip through the physicals real quick. I know, right? Crazy. I will say this is one of the neatest books that we've ever got. Let me do what we always do. Turn off the blur real quick for those in podcast land. Once again, you don't care. But for those looking, it's a video game cartridge. This is a straight up old school Nintendo cartridge. It's fantastic.
It is like so visually appealing overall.
It's gorgeous. So the book is a matte gray. It looks like a Nintendo cartridge. It's like embossed with the shapes on the side. Even like down the front where the sticker for the cartridge would be is like a sticker on the book, but it's also like into an embossed like area, so it fits in really nice. Same thing with the back. The sticker on the back is like tucked into an embossed area. It's got the symbol embossed on the back. I mean, even it's fantastic. And on top of all of that, beautiful, gorgeous blue ribbon. Beautiful book.
Yeah. As we go through this book as well, there's not going to be only a few comments about how good it looks all of the way through.
Yeah. Swedes just know what they're doing.
They just, their visuals are out of this world.
Now, not that book isn't totally gorgeous, but the only way to get more gorgeous than that is to, of course, get the limited edition gold versions of the of the game, which got the seal of quality. So this actually comes with a slip case. It is gold. And when you slide it out of the slipcase, the book itself, the cartridge and everything is a shiny gold cartridge. It's like messing with my light. It's so shiny.
It's just messing with your camera. It's so reflective.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just a beautiful reflective gold. It's insane. It's got the same blue ribbon. But it does come with the Heroes of Cerulean player booklet, which I think is fantastic. We'll talk about that a little bit on stream, but it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like 6 pages. That's just the core rules you need. So you can just hand this to somebody instead of handing them the book, and they can flip through real quick and have that. The back of the thing even has like pictures on the side. Looks like a cartridge and everything. It's absolutely stunning. And then on top of that, mine also came with this beautiful GM screen. Love the front right there. Got the bad guy on the back. It's got the entire overworld map for the player-facing side, and basically all the rules for the game because it's that short on the inside, which is fantastic. And it comes with 2 additional adventures besides the one that comes in here. We have Lucas Falk wrote the Temple of Legends, and then we have Christian Slin, who, if I'm not mistaken, that is a Stockholm Cartel person who I believe they did Death in Space. They did the Halls of Smoke and Ash. So, really, really fun, cool adventure that when you get to the back, you have to flip it upside down. So you can keep going with it. So yeah, really incredibly gorgeous books here. I have to say, overall, Cyborg. That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, not Death in Space. Cyborg.
No. I was like, I know that Death in Space is 2 dudes, so I don't know why it popped in my head. I was gonna try to get to my section back here,
there we go.
On the ground, what you can't see is about 5 feet of books in between myself and my shelf anymore. So that's right, Cyborg. I do apologize for that mix-up. I will say one of the things I was saying was this is one of the nicest physical products I've received in a very, very long time. There's not a single aspect of it that is disappointing in any way whatsoever. Not a single thing I would change. It's absolutely stunning. And it's it far exceeds what I expected. I thought it would be really cool, but I didn't expect it to be like so embossed and so gorgeous all the way through. So incredibly happy just from like the quality of the Kickstarter there. So with that being said, let's just hop right on into the game. It's not very long.
Which is a thing I love. I love me a minimalist game,
Bro, listen, if to each their own is I'm trying to have the philosophy of, TTRPGs is like music. Just because you don't like my genre doesn't mean I'm not going to yuck your yum. Unless it's 5e, play a better game. So let's do this. Here we go. Hopping straight in. For those looking on stream, you'll see the cover of the game, and every part of the cover here that looks embossed is what the cover looks like in person, which is insane.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Gorgeous pixel art. It's got the batch of characters, one of each of the character classes at the top. The Lucas Falk Heroes of Cerulean pixelated dungeon crawl RPG from Blackfisk Publishing. And again, like, I just can't get over how I loved my Nintendo. I'm a Super Nintendo boy, like deep in my heart and soul. But Nintendo is great. Right off the bat, we have what's up?
It's interesting because my experience with I believe it was Super Nintendo, is I played Dragon Quest, the original one, like a ton. So when I first looked at this project, that's what really was recalled to me, just because that's my experience with the Super Nintendo. But definitely reading through it, it's like, Legend of Zelda.
What? So when you played Ocarina of Time, what did you play it on?
N64.
See, I'm just enough older than you that we had completely different childhoods, because I played Ocarina of Time on a Game Boy put into a Nintendo Super cartridge, where you could put the Game Boy into a cartridge to put into your into your Super Nintendo.
Was there Ocarina of Time on Game Boy?
Whichever one.
I don't think that was on Game Boy.
No, was it Link's Awakening?
Oh. Maybe it was on Game Boy Advance.
No, it must have been whichever one's the one before that. That's one I played then. It must not have been Ocarina. It must have been Link. Was it Link's Awakening?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm older. So yeah, I had a lot of Game Boy, and then putting Game Boy games into the Super Nintendo. Yeah, Link's Awakening was on Game Boy. So the only game I've ever played is Link's Awakening on Game Boy. So yeah, so anyway, first 2-page spread here, you get the overland map, which makes sense as you go through, but it is a map of the overland. It is basically the world map, exactly like you would boot up in any video game, and you'll hear that a lot as we go through this. Pixel art, desert means brown, forest means green, things like that. It's really fantastic.
Yeah, it's great for setting the expectations of vibe immediately. You're like, okay, I've seen maps like this in games,
Yeah. Instantly, yeah. If you're old enough to have played pixel art games like this. But yeah, a lot of really great places. I don't know if every single one of these places is hit like really hard in the campaign. So there's definitely room to do more stuff in here. But it's great. Check it out, read through. There's little descriptions of all of the locations beneath the map across a spread, which is cool. Then we get to the contents page, which let's check it out. I know the answer already, but so first and foremost, we got bookmarks. Gotta love that.
Love it.
We got hyperlinks, people. It's well hyperlinked. I think there was one spot that is the most nitpickiest. Like doesn't need to be hyperlinked at all, but I still checked spot in the entire book. But otherwise, claps, shout out Lucas. Appreciate a solidly well hyperlinked document.
It's funny because Lucas and Blackfisk released on Twitter a few days ago that they help me finish the words I'm saying.
They were checking that.
Oh yeah, they were checking their hyperlinks. Yeah, because they tweeted out that they had their like open source license for this, and so you can make your own stuff. And I retweeted, and I was like, "That's very funny because we're reviewing it this Friday." And they were commented like, "Nervously checks hyperlinks."
Yeah, I quote tweeted that of someone going like, and I did. I looked thoroughly. Great table of contents. One thing that I really love about this too, especially for a game like this, it is color coded. So the book's color coded, the pages are color coded, the headers in each section is color coded. Love it. It definitely gives me. This is another reason I think that my mind went to Death in Space. Is because Death in Space is the same thing where they have like each different sections a color coded section. Even though again, Cyborg, Christian Selena, I apologize for that. Yeah, we have an intro.
How dare you not be perfect at all times?
But listen, we've gone over a lot of Stockholm Cartel. I should know better. But we have an introduction section, a rules section, the hero section, which is characters, the dungeon master section, which also includes the bestiary, and then there are 4 adventures in the book, and we'll go over why there are 4 adventures in the book. And I will say that takes up about half the book is the campaign.
Yeah, it's like 50-ish pages.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You could buy this game and you could immediately play a campaign with very little prep on the master. You could just
Mhm.
bust it out, which is
Yeah.
that's incredibly valuable to me because
Yeah.
I like not having to prep. So
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it depends on what kind of game you want to play, but there's definitely, it's interesting when we get to the master section where it talks about like, it'll even tell you like what kind of campaign and how much to prep for different sections, which is really cool in such a small book to offer so much guidance. So get into it. Here we go. Heroes of Cerulean. Love the pixel, everything pixel, everything. Just if you can imagine that it's pixelated or pixel art or pixel font or pixel text, it is. For those that aren't going to check it out on YouTube,
it's
but
still
you
incredibly
actually,
readable. It's not so
oh
pixelated that it's like, okay, dial it down. It's the perfect amount where it conveys the look it's going for while still being incredibly legible.
yeah, yeah. Even the logo, even the logo that they put on all of their stuff, they made a pixel version of it for inside this, which is great. So writing and game design is Lucas Falk. Illustrations are a bunch of people, and then so are the maps and everything like that. So you read that at your leisure. A lot of amazing people in here. Obviously influenced by Legends of Zelda. It also talks about Blades in the Dark and Merkborg, which again, not surprised to see a Stockholm Cartel in here. What's funny is honestly, I didn't know. I guess I just didn't dig far enough. I knew that the Blackfisk logo had like the, I don't think it's an umlaut when it's over like the A or whatever, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even Lucas Falk, I was like, I didn't realize it was a Swedish name. And then you start reading the book, and then I looked at the playtester, and I was like, oh, I feel like everyone's probably Swedish. I don't think they just found one or two people. So then I realized that they're actually they're Swedish. It's a Swedish. They're Swedish. So
True.
getting into it, yeah. Long ago, the three divine dragons created the mythical realm of Cerulea, a vast kingdom of green fields, blue lakes, deep forests, volcanic mountains, and scorching deserts. A perpetual cycle of conflict grips this world. The guardian of the Paragon bravely defends Cerulea against the Shadow King and his horde of monsters. All three have been reborn numerous times throughout history. Now the Shadow King has returned, but the guardian of the Paragon are still nowhere to be seen. New heroes must come to Cerulea's aid. I think Guardians need, are there more than one Guardians, or they're not more than one Guardians? Anyway, something's not pluralized. So anyway, so getting into it. First of all, love this piece of art right off the bat with the skull, with the key around their neck, with in front of a treasure chest. I mean, with like one arm still in a manacle.
Yeah.
Amazing. After the overworld map, amazing first piece of art.
Yeah, that thing's definitely not gonna come alive and try to defend the key or anything. So don't worry.
Absolutely
just take it out. Just take out the skeleton. It'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. And then heading right into the introduction,
Guardian is single and Paragon is single.
Oh, gotcha. Because it was said are, not is. So I'm like, where's my grammar? So getting into the introduction section, we're in a yellow section, so everything's yellow. The pages are yellow, and if you look at it from the side of the book, you will also see the yellow sections, which is really, really nice. Heroes of Cerulean. It's a tabletop role-playing game. There's a box, a very like pop-up in a video game like style box of all the things you need, which is people, time, and stuff. Read that at your leisure. Getting directly into the basics again. One of you is game master, the rest of you are players. One of my favorite lines in the whole book, though, immediately starts right here, and I love it. The next two things in this intro section, love it so much. Use the game mechanics only when failure could be both reasonable and interesting, and the rules are a toolbox. Use them as a foundation and improvise rulings when the need arises. I think the whole like use the game mechanics only when failure is reasonable or interesting thing is such a good way to write the thing we talk about all the time, and just basically like only roll when you have to. Yeah.
And we've said this a million times, and we'll say it a million more. Giving people license to do what they want with the game at their table, it's good. I mean, more experienced people like us will just take that license into their own hands, but it really took me a long time to learn that oh yeah, I can just do that myself. It's nice to be given that permission.
Yeah, absolutely. But also one of the things this game does really well is we've all seen like the only roll dice when you have to thing. And then people roll fucking dice all the time anyway. You know what I mean? It drives me insane. I think this one does a really good job numerous times as you go through of basically saying like, just don't. Like, just don't. Like, you can do the whole thing without, you know, if you just don't. So I like that. But the only dig into the game mechanics when you have to is a good way of saying that. It talks about the dungeons, their prepared locations. The book includes 4 ready-to-play dungeons on page 34 to 79, and those hyperlinks in the text are those numbers are hyperlinked in the text, which is great. Yeah. I love this troubleshooting pop-up. Having problems starting the game, try blowing any dust from the book before restarting.
Classic.
Yeah.
I also do like the pop-out boxes. You know, we talk about like good uses of them and bad uses of them in books, and we've seen a lot of really good uses recently of these like boxes to like draw the eye to like little notes and stuff, and it works really well here. They have the black kind of menu box.
Yeah. And since everything is such a bright kind of like almost primary color through, having these like black and white boxes are so stark, but like again, like with the font and with like the feeling of the video gaminess, they're perfect. It's great. Talks about hero sheets, which is your character sheet. We'll get to those. Talks about dice. You know, 1D, 2D, 4D. You know what it is. Double Ds. Video game logic. I do enjoy this, and this is the thing that we're going to talk about a bunch because pre-stream, this is where we had like a little bit of a like. I think this is where discussion's going to come in about this game, especially versus a game like Forgotten Ballad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says in this game, a key works in pretty much every lock, but it disappears when used. Characters heal through eating food, and they increase their maximum health through finding heart containers. For some reason, random pots contain money and bombs, and boomerangs can bring those items to you. Monsters are evil. NPCs only want to talk about one single thing. Dungeons are puzzles designed to be solved by heroes. Heroes of Cerulea embraces these anti-realistic aspects in order to facilitate a peculiar video game-like role-playing experience. So they do not at all shy away and actually do the opposite and run towards, throughout the entire game, how video gamey this is. And I love it. I love it so much.
I do think it's done incredibly well. It definitely knows what it is and leans into it well. I really do like the idea of like you just keep talking to an NPC and they just like dead eye just keep telling you the same thing over and over and over.
Dude, so good. Like just the one line that keeps playing, so good. And that's the intro section. So now we're getting into the blue section, which again, the color, even the pages are colored a different color. We're going from a yellow section to blue, so it's very slightly tinted blue, and then all of the bar across the bottom of the page, all of the little arrows and bullet points and everything are all blue. I love I love it so much. It's great. So great page at the top of a battle happening, and kind of like a lava pouring down behind them, fighting things. It's great. The you know, one of the heroes flying down from above.
I love pixel art style. I'm glad that like it has come back into like vogue to be like, you know, doing pixel art again. I think it fell off during the 2000s. People are like, no, everything has to be super high def. But yeah, which no, it doesn't. But yeah, I love sprite art. I love this pixel look, and it is so good in this, and it's of such high quality. You know?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, games like Red Dead and all that stuff where things are so super realistic, that's cool. If you're like a massive publisher with like $1 billion fucking dollars or whatever, but like Blasphemous is my favorite game of all time, and it's pixel art, and my favorite games are always going to be pixel art. First of all, I think it's gorgeous, and second of all, like it's cheaper for the studio, like not having to like render three-dimensional bullshit, you know. So
wait, you're saying you don't want to pay $70 for a video game so it can look like you're walking outside?
Well, we could just be like Destiny and every 6 months have to pay another $70 for something that will be given free in a year. Anyway, so rules, getting into it. Actions. When you want your hero to do something, you take an action. There's a list of actions here. There's attacking, defending, using an item, inspecting, escaping, talking, and other. They are exactly what you think they are. Attacking is attacking. And a lot of great art through. I love the avian person here with their bow. standing on top of this like bottom bar. I love the bar across the bottom too. A lot of times you see that more at the top of the page.
Yeah.
I love it on the bottom where it's got like the page number, and at the bottom of each section it again tells you like what section you're in, so you could easily flip through and find it. This is a book that is really short, but all of the tools that they use to make it navigable would be great in things that are like 300 and 400 pages. You know?
Yeah, if you could just take all the good ideas from this and put it in something that's like 400 pages long, it would really help out all those things we've gone through that are 400 pages long and don't have it.
Dude, I feel like between this one and like last week, like it's literally like, look at these two books to make your book better, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so getting into action rolls. So based on the action, you pick an attribute. You only get 3 attributes in the game. Great,
that's
my
the
favorite.
Perfect amount of attributes, you know?
Perfect amount of attributes. You got might, you got bravery, and you got insight. So might is you're pushing, you're attacking, you're heaving, you know, all of your strength stats basically. You got bravery, which is jumping, defending, climbing, evading, resisting. So there, it's definitely not a strength and speed stat at all. But it's a little mix of the bravery does give you your jumping and stuff like that, but it's also defending, resisting, and things like that. So it's a little bit more in that direction. And then you have insight, which is discovering stuff, but also shooting, tinkering, analyzing, persuading, anything that takes like a lot of your fine brain or motor skills is your insight. You roll dice equal to your attributes value. So this is a dice pool game, which
is a D4 dice pool game, which is great. I think we kind of skimmed the dice symbol section. You talked about like 1D, 2D, but it's only D. It's not in it because it's just D4s.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it's DD, you roll like a D4 and a D4. Yeah.
Yeah. But interesting. D4 is very, very caltrop core. But I love these D4. They're very underutilized, you know?
I don't mind the D4 thing. I gotta say, I kept going through, and I don't think the game would break if you use D6s instead. And I might. But D4 is interesting. It definitely changes the math if you were to switch it up. But so the action outcomes, anytime you do roll, when you have to roll, 1 or 2 is a failure. It's a failed action. 1 heart is lost if the action is dangerous. So anytime you do anything, you have a 50% chance of failing and losing a heart if it was a dangerous thing to do, right? 3 on a D4 is a successful action, and you still lose a heart. So if you just defend, you don't lose any hearts, though. So 75% chance, potentially, of losing a heart every time you do anything that's dangerous. A D4 is kind of like the Triforce piece, which I didn't even put that together, and that's so perfect now. I wouldn't not even gonna plug with a D6 now.
We're both so bright,
bro. Well, because it's funny because I have D4s that aren't like a pyramid basically, because they roll better. But now it's just like, oh well, of course it's a pyramid. Of course you would use a D4. That's so smart. So it does define danger here. It says danger in melee combat. All actions are dangerous unless a monster is stunned. So anything you do in combat, no matter what, is dangerous. And a lot of things you do outside of combat are dangerous. So if you ever have 0 dice or fewer, you always roll at least 2 and take the lowest result.
Perfect.
I love that roll. I think that's great.
Great logic there. Makes a lot of sense.
It's not even just like you get 1 and you still get like a consequence for not having any, which is great.
Yeah.
Favorable or disadvantageous circumstances can add or remove dice. For extra successful actions, the master decides an appropriate outcome, depleting an extra heart from a monster, saving a friend, whatever. I love that. I love that. Like, there's nothing specific that says like if you somehow get 2 4s, it's just like, cool, the GM just like make it even better, you know. I love that.
On this move, what happens if I roll 2 4s, you know?
Bro. I'm going to punch through the screen as my move. What is my pick list for?
I'm never gonna let that joke go, and you're gonna hear it. If you listen to our show, you will hear that joke a million more times because
listening to our show is a move. So
listen to our show is a move.
Yeah. Combat rolls. Only players make action rolls. A single action roll determines the outcome for both the hero and the monster. In combat, a 1 to 2 means the hero fails and the monster succeeds, and the hero loses 1 heart. So like every time you try to hit something, if a 1 or 2, you lose a heart. A 3 means you both succeed, which means you both lose a heart, and a 4 means the hero succeeds and the monster fails, the monster loses heart. So basically, the core mechanic of the game is roll a d4, and you only fully succeed on a 4. So you have a 25% chance of doing exactly what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
I mean, plus there's dice
you know,
pool, so the math gets
have,
funky when you throw in 3d4s, but
yeah.
you know.
But I love this. I love player-facing combat. I always think even if like this doesn't necessarily have like enemy turns, right? But I think when players like they're totally responsible for combat, there's a lot more buy-in. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. It's just I mean, talk about like having to do less work as a GM too, where like you can just like respond to what the players want to do as opposed to forcing the players to respond to what you were doing so much. We've talked over and over again about taking out the kind of like antagonistic feeling of like GM versus player when the consequences of everything that they do are based on their actions.
Yeah, he points to them and is like, this is your fault. I'm just sitting over here.
You tried to hit it. You got a 3. You both hit each other, but that's on you, buddy. I didn't try to hit you. You know, I love that. Like it's a core thing in like every game that I try to develop. Everyone that I try to play or run is just to make it player facing as much as possible, which is great. But I really enjoy these mechanics. I mean, there's not a lot of D4 games out there. I do like Caltrip Core. I really enjoy this one as a D4 game. It's cool. Cooperative roles, they exist. If working together is advantageous, for example, blah, blah, blah. When everyone makes an individual action roll, the best roll counts for the whole group. I love that. So basically you're making a pool of everybody instead of a pool for yourself. It's a great way to do it. If working is not advantageous, everyone makes an individual action rolls and players can then gift one or more of their dice results to the player. Yeah.
Very cool. I like that rule. This game is, I don't mean this is like a bad thing, but it's a little bit softer on the player than like other things that we go through often. And I think it's incredibly appropriate for what this is. Yeah, I know there's moments where it's not, but I think like the cooperative roles and some other stuff like falling off a cliff, not killing you.
I agree with that.
I like it fits really well within what this game is trying to do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I definitely agree with that. It's softer in that, like, I think you'll die real fast in this, but you don't die. Like, you literally just, like, hang out for a round and then you, like, get a heart back and, like, pop back up and stuff. So, yeah. Like, it's interesting in that it's, like, brutal, but not, like, at the same time because of the way that, like, that stuff works. So, yeah, it's cool. Monsters and rounds. They exist. There's a lot of things here about monsters and stuff. I'm going to skim through them a little bit. Monsters are normally aggressive and evil creatures. So, there's no, like... This monster's a good guy. I'm gonna be the playable monster now. Like, come on.
Yeah. You're not making friends with monsters, which and I have no issue with that, and I have no issue with games that are just like, I mean, you can talk your way out of most things. But this is you're playing a video game where you're fighting monsters and you're fighting evil, so you're gonna do that. So please enter this with the expectation that that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, NPCs exist to be friends with, and monsters exist to kill for loot. If they drop any, like that's how it works, and that's fine. Monsters can't chase after heroes. If multiple heroes are nearby, each monster attacks a random hero. A monster attack normally depletes 1 heart. When the hero rolls a 3 or lower, we talked about this. There might be some other actions based on the monsters. We'll go through that. Some have special abilities. They have hearts too, etc., etc. And then a monster disintegrates when defeated. Yeah, and its items disintegrate too, unless it drops some standard loot in red. It's written in red. And yeah, it's dope. Like, it just...
Yeah, that's exactly the sound that was in my mind. Yeah.
If you're worried about... This is a game where, like, if you're worried about, like, oh, my immersion, go outside and immerse yourself in reality, because at no point in a tabletop role-playing game where you're sitting at a table rolling dice to swing a sword are you so immersed that a monster disintegrating is going to break that for you. Rounds. When heroes aren't fighting or under time pressure, you don't have to keep track of it. One of the things I like about this game is how often it doesn't like try to fix a problem that doesn't exist. It just says, that's not a problem. Keep going, you know? Like, cooperative roles, everyone just roll. Like, it's like they figure out like the simplest way to do it, that where you just go, well, yeah, duh, you know, and you don't need to make it more complicated than that. And they do that over and over through the game, and I really enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, that's an amazing lesson that a lot of game developers should take, actually. Do not there's no need to overcomplicate things that just don't matter. even I think some, obviously I'm very into minimalist rules. And so for me, I'm like, yeah, don't make a rule for it if it doesn't matter. But I think sometimes rules are added in just purely out of habit for like, especially for combat and stuff. But to like this and be like, who the fuck cares? It doesn't matter.
Who
Like
the
perfect,
fuck
amazing.
cares? That's why your books are 400 pages, because there's 300 pages of shit that doesn't fucking matter. Like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, if you're writing a rule and you go, someone will probably homebrew this and do it different. If you don't need that rule, don't put it in, because they'll just figure out how they're going to do it different anyway. Like, anyway, teach their own. Under more intense circumstances, time is divided into rounds. Rounds last a couple of seconds. How many? Who cares? During a round, participants can initiate one action and move a short distance. The master describes what... There's a numbered list here, so we'll go through that. The master describes what the monsters are doing. The players take their turns according to who speaks first. No rolling for initiative. Perfect. The first player describes your hero's actions. The player makes their action roll. The master interprets the effects. Number 3, another player describes their hero's actions, makes their action roll, and so on. Number 4, when all players have made their action rolls, start a new round.
Amazing.
Couldn't be better. But I think the key here, realistically, on such a short table that's very much just like, well, yeah, duh, is number 1, the master describes what the monsters are doing first. So a lot of people kind of get lost in player-facing roles and stuff because the impetus is on the players to do things, but the GM... like,
has to set the scene.
Has to set the scene, but not only that. I remember the first time I got into a mixed success like game like that, and it's just like, well, if things only act when the players do it, then if they just like walk past the bad guy, nothing happens because they didn't attack the bad guy. And someone had to be like, no, what you do is like, you put the bad guy in their way and lift their arm like you're going to hit them. And then it's the player's turn, because now they have to decide if they're going to try to dodge or if they're going to like put up a shield or hit them first. Like, you can still put them into the situation. It's just they get to determine like the action they take because of it. So I think number 1 is really important here. Anyway, multiple opponents. If several monsters attack a single hero in the same round, the hero can pick any action against one of them and defends against the rest. And make an action roll for each action with -1d for all rolls. Great. Love that. So that's kind of the core of combat in the game, which obviously this will be, it's a video game. It's going to be a combat heavy game. So that's a big part of it. Hearts and energy, you have them. Losing hearts is only temporary. You can restore them. If you have 0 hearts left, you go unconscious and you regain 1 heart when someone wakes you up or when the fight ends. I love that one. It's got to be like, wake up,
Get up.
Yep. If all heroes are unconscious, the game restarts. The heroes return to the dungeon entrance. The progress is saved, but all the monsters have respawned. So basically, you can't die in this game. You can't die in the game. Like, you just wait for someone to wake you up, and then you get 1 heart back, and you keep going. And if everyone dies, you all just blink back to the beginning of the dungeon and try again. Love it. Great.
It's just like a video game. So
yeah, just like real life. Some items consume energy. Energy is a thing. So you have hearts and you have energy. The restoration is cool. You have a snack, a meal, a heart potion, energy potion. A snack restores 1 heart and 1 energy. A meal restores 3 hearts and 3 energy. And a heart potion and an energy potion restores all your hearts or all your energy, which is great. I love the notations that they have here. So there's the rest of this page is hearts and lightning bolts, which is your hearts and your energy, right? It says Perfect. Use a pen to outline your maximum hearts, and then use a pencil to cross off when you don't have them, so you can just like erase over it. Great idea. I'm stealing the shit out of that.
It's funny how we go through games, and sometimes like the simple, straightforward ideas actually show like such brilliance. Like, yeah, this is great. This is an amazing idea. It works perfectly well. It's enjoyable to look at too.
Well, it's definitely, like I said, a lot of this game and is a lot of just like, well, duh, now that you said it, of course, of course, Yeah. I don't like that. Items, improving, and miscellaneous rules before we get into heroes. Items, they exist. They're tools that open up new possibilities. Each item takes up 1 slot. Gems, food, keys, Trinity fragments, they don't take up slots. They're marked on your hero sheet in a different area. Item remains where you leave them. So if you drop it, you can come back and get it later. And items wielded or worn by monsters are cursed and you can't use them. You can get loot, but you can't take the monster stuff, which is cool. And you improve your character by finding new items, finding heart and energy containers, which we'll go over, and finding Trinity fragments, which are fragments that gives one hero the opportunity once per session to reroll any number of dice during an action roll. It's dope.
Yeah.
Free rerolls.
The Trinity fragments, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely Trinity fragment. If you just tweak up, if you tweak out all the middle parts, it's
Trinity.
Yeah. Legally distinct Trinity icon. So a bunch of random miscellaneous rules here. Let's go through some of them. Heroes cannot harm friendly inhabitants. Like that. You can't be hitting on you're not hitting on, you can hit on NPCs all you want. You can't hit NPCs. Regular keys open any regular lock. Bombs blow up cracked walls. Regular walls can't be scaled. Heroes can't attack while swimming. If you fall into a pit, you lose 1 heart. After 1 round, you automatically return to where you fell from. Love that.
Perfect.
If you're swallowed by quicksand, you lose 1 heart. After 1 round, you automatically turn to where you fell from.
If you fall into lava, when you return, you're like kind of blinking, you know, like in and out, you know, for just a moment.
Like water droplets just lava though, 2 hearts. And when a hero enters a boss room, the door seals behind them. Other heroes are automatically transported inside, and it opens again when the heroes defeat the boss monster. All the heroes are unconscious. Boom. That's it.
I think
so we get to
what this game does really well, and I think I felt like this about Forgotten Balance as well, is it captures how charming like this aspect of like the Legend of Zelda or like a video game like that is. Like it captures the charm of that. Going through these books, they are very like, the rules are very charming. I can very much enjoy these, you know?
Yeah. It definitely hits you in that nostalgia where like things were, I don't know. I mean, no matter where you go in time, there's like, you can look 50 years earlier and hear someone complaining the same way you were complaining. But like times were simpler, you know? Things were just a thing. And you didn't need 10 apps doing the same thing to get your fix on it. I just needed 20 minutes in Aladdin, you know? That was my game. But yeah, we're getting to heroes section. This is character creation. So do you want to build a character as we run through this real quick?
Yeah,
it's pretty straightforward.
Build a character.
So this is a green section. So again, the page is like slightly green in the background, and then all of the bullet points and everything throughout the entire thing are green, which is great. Again, I love the color coding. It's fantastic. So as you bring up some dice, you have some character options. You choose a kin. A kin is your quote unquote race in other classes. It is a kind of creature you are, and I love the art at the top that has like one of all of them, which is dope. So you can be an elf, which is a pointy-eared humanoid, hailing from the plains. They have a special. Yeah. You can spend 1 energy ahead of an action roll to get +1 dice. That's dope. Great for elves. Avians, they're bird-like humanoids hailing from the skies. And their special is you can spend 1 energy to make a long jump and glide through the air. I love that. From a narrative perspective, that's like the coolest freaking thing. And I love that some of these are more narrative. The Geon is a rock-like humanoid hailing from the mountains. They have a special which you can spend 1 energy to resist losing 1 heart, which is dope. Which mechanically, you know, that basically just gives you, that means all your energy are hearts, which is cool. It does tweak your attributes. You get +1 might, -1 bravery. You have an Aquarian, which is the fish-like humanoid hailing from the lakes. You can spend 1 energy to swim long distances underwater or attack while in the water, which is why the miscellaneous rule said other people couldn't. And then you have the Seedling, which is a tree-like humanoid hailing from the forest. The special is you spend 1 energy to turn invisible for as long as you stay still. I assume that means that they, like, in my mind, the sprite turns into like a little tree that looks like all the little trees around it. So you can't like tell which one it is. And then the attributes are -1 bravery, -1 might, +1 bravery, the opposite of the Geon. So which kin are you going with?
Oh, in the Legend of Zelda and its various games, I love the Gorons. So I will pick a Geon, the obvious inspiration. I love that they like did the -1 bravery, because I believe in those games too, even though the Gorons are like big tough guys, they are like, you know, not the most agile, and also like sometimes they're fairly cowardly, which I feel like the bravery stat for this one actually fits both of those things.
Like a big teddy bear. Okay, so we got some notes on stats and gear, and then we'll go over some stuff. So your hero starts with 3 hearts. So you use a pin to outline those 3 hearts. Okay. I believe there's a form fillable character sheet in the Dropbox too.
Yeah, we're over here. So
you get 3 energy. So use a pin to outline 3 energy symbols, your little lightning bolts. You start with 15 gems, so you can make a note of that. You get a small pouch, which is 4 slots. I do believe the character sheet also has an 8-slot pouch.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you just mark the
wallet, you know? Gotta turn in your golden scatulas or whatever to get the bigger size wallet.
There you go. But you get the 4. So you get a starting weapon. So you started with the Geon, so you get to start with a club.
Perfect.
I like that. Don't even worry about picking the weapon. Like, you have your character, and your character gets the weapon that their starting weapon, which it's a video game. Like, you don't get to, yeah. And then a special item, choose or roll. Multiple heroes should not start with the same item. So roll a d4 real quick, and you get to start with your special item.
I rolled a 1. I got a lantern, lights up dark places, can immolate objects. Amazing.
Oh, I assume that means you hit someone with a lantern, and they will die from flame. Oh. Yeah. So there are additional items grouped for more than 4 heroes randomized on the special items table, so that the table does go much farther. The first 4 on that table, though, are the same 4, so it just extends the table longer later on in the master section. And I do like that there's the 4 items are down here. You got the boomerang, the lantern, the magic cape, and the bow in dope ass pixel art.
I love the magic cape icon. I think it looks so great.
It does look so cool. They spend 1 energy to make yourself invisible for the current round and the next. So similar to the seedling's ability, but it's a cape, which I think makes you actually invisible, where the seedling, I know it says invisible, but in my mind, again, I think they just more like look like plants, so people don't see them. But to each their own. That's just how I interpret it.
For the seedling ability, it specifically says like you have to stay still.
Yeah.
But for the cape, it does not say that, which to me implies that I'll move around wearing the cape.
Oh yeah. Okay, so distribute your attributes and determine your appearance. So you have 3 attributes. We already said that. You distribute the following values among them: 3, 2, and 1 amongst your might, bravery, and insight.
I think I might just go straight down 3, 2, and 1 actually, because then I get +1 to might and -1 to bravery, which means I would have 4, 1, and 1.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's always the play, right? Is, do I even out 2? So, or do I double up the 1?
I'm going full into being big and strong and clumsy. So
there you go.
Don't ask me to jump over anything. I won't do it.
No, just run through it. That's how that works. The kin modifiers are listed here again, which is great. The Geon and seedlings with the attributes. I love that. I love that it's not listed just once and you're expected to remember where the heck that was. I like that it's listed where you need it, which is great. So determine your appearance. So it says roll DD, roll those double Ds for me, which just means you roll a 4 and a 4 and read it like a percentile dice.
So hair is gray, and then I'll roll again for clothes. And I got a 33 for clothes. I'm wearing purple clothes, of gray hair, and I got like a purple like tank top tunic kind of thing. I'm a Geon. I'm a big buff dude, big buff rock guy. So
that's dope with the gray hair popping out the top. That's cool. Looks dope. That sounds very video gamey.
Yeah.
This reminds me a little bit of the Tunnel Goons roll for your cape color, roll for your cloak color. You know, love that. I definitely would be like, roll one more time, and that's the color of your cloak, you know. Roll or pick one. Roll one more time for me. I want to do it because you got hair, you got clothes. Magenta. So, purple and magenta. That's a dope color combo with the gray hair, bro. You literally just rolled Magneto. All right, Magneto, the Geon. Okay. This is a Geon here with the purple clothes, right? So if this hair was gray, that's you. All right, so great. Buy something. Spend gems to buy things. If you do, note it on your character sheet. So you can start by buying some stuff. Snacks are worth 5 gems. We already talked about what they are. Meals are 10 gems, and then bombs are 5 gems. So you can spend you start with 15 gems. You can buy stuff if you want. And then you roll or pick a name. You roll another double D for me.
Ooh, cool. Yeah. Love rolling for names. I rolled 32. Airy. One of those.
Airy. Sounds good.
Airy?
That's your Gion. So it's got the hero agenda here. 4 things. Explore Cerulea, help friendly inhabitants, find dungeons and clear them of monsters, and fight the Shadow King's evil influence. Love it. That's all you got to do. That's what you're supposed to do. When you break pots and defeat monsters, you have a chance to find helpful stuff. Remind the master to roll on the standard loot table. Oh, yeah. 1 letter off of Eric. That's funny. For Magneto, for those that aren't in the chat with us. It's not a hyperlink to it, but it didn't say that it was, but it's already linked elsewhere. So there is a character sheet right here after the hero section, which I love because I was able to flip while going through the 2 pages. The very next page is your character sheet. So I love that it was available, that I could look at the character sheet while I was reading about it, so I could see where I would have put it, which is really fantastic. It's a beautiful looking character sheet. I like it. I like that it uses the I was going to say the Triforce. The
the Trinity. The Trinity.
Yeah, the Trinity fragments for the areas where you write your stats in. It's a great clean character sheet. I really like it a lot. I like the little meal symbol with the little fishies, the keys and stuff, the little pomelo looking snacks. And I really love all of the actions listed on the bottom. It's really nice to have, because you only roll action rolls, so it's really nice that all of your actions are listed right there. This is my nitpicky part, Lucas. This is my only nitpicky part, and it doesn't matter because this is not that. But I would have been blown away if here where it says blackfiskpublishing.com, it hyperlinked out to blackfiskpublishing.com. But, again, that's not even nitpicky because it's not even an expectation because it's actually what's on the character sheet.
You know what,
That's
Ryan?
what I was saying.
Fuck you.
I don't disagree with you. That's what I said. It didn't matter. I hedged that. But it doesn't really matter. But also, if you're giving it out as a PDF, on the PDF, if it was linked there, then anytime someone brought up the PDF, they'd be able to go click to the other ones really easily too. Which we have seen before, people on the character sheets linking to other spots. So, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not it. We're not done, but that's
there's more, but that's
from the player side. That's the entire game. Yeah. I meant to download this, and I did want to talk about this real quick. So I did download it.
Look at you. You're ready.
So I went all in and got everything. I don't know, and I think that the little player book came inside this gold case. I don't remember, though. But, hey, the creator of the game is in our chat with us, which is the reason we still do this live on Twitch. Is the player, and it is gold, did this come with all of the pledges, or did the player booklet only come with the gold box? Because I love that, and I just want to take 2 seconds to flip through it real quick. The player booklet is fantastic. It is pretty much everything we just went over in like 6 pages. It's got the beginning like words, the starting with the video game logic section. It's got the actions, still color coded, still laid out very similar, like the same style. It's got all your actions. All the special abilities. It talks about items, rounds, hearts, energy, and that's it. It's literally like 5 pages, including the inside of the back, and it's everything you need to be the player in the game. So everything that we just went over, easily done. Yeah, the player booklet is part of the gold edition, but you'll be able to download it from our website once the game releases, regular and printer friendly. Just killing it. So, going to go through the master section super quick. There are just some points we want to hit on, but we're not going to read through all of it. The Shadow King dwells in the Cerulean Citadel behind an impenetrable barrier. While his evil influence spreads across Cerulea, his most fearsome beasts have fortified perilous lairs from which monsters spawn and terrorize the region. These beasts each protect a Trinity fragment. The Trinity is a legendary artifact that, once restored, will be capable of breaking down the barrier surrounding the Cerulean Citadel, allowing one to face the Shadow King. So, We're getting into a bright red section. Beautiful piece of art at the top here of a bad guy slash the dungeon master.
The Shadow King?
The Shadow King? Well, the Shadow King is actually this dude.
That's the same dude.
Oh, yeah, you're right. 100%. 1,000,000,000% the same dude. It is the Shadow King, and it's a dope piece of art. I was like, no, it's not. He's got a crown. Yes, he does. Okay. No, the horns on the chair should really give it away. Yeah. Beautiful piece. Stunning colors. I mean, the purple and the pink and the blues.
If I could get a print to hang from this, it'd probably be this one, honestly.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's either that one or I don't know, the one where they're, I mean, I love the skeleton at the beginning, but where the lava's coming down and the one guy's like shooting through the air.
I think a lot of the I think the Woodland Tomb, which is the one of the dungeons of the book, that one I'd also like. I'd hang that on my wall. You know, I just like it.
Yeah,
feels classic.
It does. It definitely punches you in the nostalgia a lot. So this is a master section. A lot about running the dungeon and stuff. I love when games do it this way. I love when games have like if you're a player, you could stop and just be done at 16 pages, 15 pages, and don't do it. So there's not this like weird mix of just like, I'm not going to say the game, but where there's like way too much direction for shit that doesn't matter all throughout, instead of just bumping it to a different book or to its own section. Where you're trying to learn how to play the game, but you're getting like a billion directions on shit that doesn't matter because you're not running the game. Separate into its own chapter. This does a fantastic job of doing that, and I like it a lot. Still read it if you're a player because there's a lot of really great stuff in here, but it's cool. So the master guidelines, the master agenda, which is different than the player agenda, is prepare dungeons, apply the rules, when things are clear-cut, making rulings when they aren't, challenge the players and the heroes, say yes to the players' creative ideas and solutions, and embrace the video game logic. I love that. So it talks about dungeon mapping. It literally says, like, print the maps out, cut them up, and then just lay them down as they enter the room. Great idea to do it. If you have a printer, that's cool. It says, or just draw it. That's cool. So campaign play is really neat, and I do like the way that they do this. So the Shadow King has split the Trinity into 3 fragments before you can get into the Cerulean Citadel. So there's 3 dungeons in this game, and then a 4th one where you actually fight the Shadow King. So there's literally half the book is the 3 dungeons to get the 3 Trinity fragments and the Cerulean Citadel to fight the Shadow King. So the campaign, the game within the game that this game is, if it was a video game, exists within this rule book, and it's fantastic. So the campaign style I really like is really interesting. So there's the dungeon campaign where it says heroes start at the dungeon entrance. Whenever they want, they just go in, completely skipping overland play. And as a master, you really don't need to prepare anything because you can just run it right out of the book. Love that. You just,
amazing.
It's right there. There's the overworld campaign where the heroes start at either the entrance of the dungeon or at Citadel Town, and they can access the overland map by like picking stuff that's marked on it. And then they have to travel through a number of overworld areas. As a master, you should prepare content for those areas. So they can see the map and they kind of like pick where they go. And then there's a screen crawl campaign where the heroes start in Citadel Town and know nothing. They don't get the overworld map. They have to talk to NPCs to find out where anything is. They have to explore to find it. That would be dope.
Yeah, I like that too. I love the multiple different options of modes, and I would definitely want to play. I would definitely want to run like the screen crawl campaign and just be like, yeah, welcome to town. You've lived here your whole life. Where are we going?
That's exactly. I mean, when I played, not Ocarina of Time, when I played Link's Awakening, like you just start in a little town and there's like grass, and like every time you come back, you chop the grass to get the rupees, and then you like fish, and then you go try to do stuff. It's great.
I was thinking too, the fact that there's like a preset, fairly finite map means that if you do this version, prepping for it is not going to be as daunting as like prepping for, you know, something else, 5e or whatever, but a lot of other stuff as well.
Yeah. But gotta do something real quick. I like the modifying difficulty part. Their official campaign is written for 3 heroes, everything in 3s, obviously, because of the Trinity fragment. If there are fewer heroes, for each missing one, reduce the number of monsters in each room by 1, and the hearts of the bosses by 2. The opposite, if there are more, you increase the number of monsters by 1, and then you increase the boss's heart by 2. Simple, easy, streamlined. Couldn't ask for a quicker, easier way. Boom. All right. Going through creating the dungeons, there's a whole section here, best practices, which is great, and a numbered list, 1 through 6, of putting a dungeon together, picking the theme, picking the challenge, picking the items, picking the bosses. It's great. I love it. I would use this for just about anything. It's really awesome. I love the best practices too. They're good. Create non-linear paths, anticipate multiple possibilities. Don't block the main path with the hardest challenge. Keep that for like special treasure, and have the special items be used on bosses and for those special things to get to other things, which is great. And then embrace video game logic, you know? There's a double D roll table here for theme and architecture, which also gives you the room. Roll me 2 double Ds real quick.
Okay, the first one, 14. And the second one's 42.
Okay.
So 14 is that air, sky, cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And 42, we've got cave, cavern, grotto. Is the architecture.
So come with the name, and I do like how they say it up top. It's cool because you can do like the moon cave, or you can do like cave of the moon.
Ooh.
So what do you got? What do you got? You got cave,
I think
cavern,
we're doing
grotto.
grotto in the sky. You know,
Grotto in the sky. There you go, sky grotto, baby. So cool. We got the grotto in the sky. So challenges are problems that heroes face. And then it talks about hidden doors. Don't automatically say it. If they ask if the wall is cracked, they'll throw a bomb. There's a double D thing for challenges. Again, in the area above, you go through, there's challenges, special items, bosses, and shop inhabitants. And as you go through the rest of the section, there's a challenge table, there's a monster table. We actually go directly into the bestiary. So it talks about monster reaction table. Aside from 8, because you rolled 2D, they all attack you. They attack you, they hide, they try to ambush you, and then number 8, they're friendly. They want to talk. There's a section on modifying the danger, which is interesting. It says for easier dungeon area, subtract 10 from the monster roll result. For a harder dungeon area, add 10. So roll me a double D real quick, and we will talk about that monster.
that is going to be 2-2.
So going down to number 22, that is a skelly.
Skeleton. Woo!
Woo! Classic.
Yeah, great one.
Reanimated bones. When defeated, it turns into a skull. And then unless destroyed, it reanimates into a skeleton after 2 rounds. Love
Classic.
it. It's got 2 hearts, and there's 2D of them. There are... One thing you'll notice, when you roll a D and a D, what's the highest you can get?
44.
So why does this go to 54?
Oh, because you can add 10.
Because you can add 10. So what they said was, and I love this because it took me like half a second when I was like, but it's 54. That doesn't make sense. So basically, when you do a monster roll, you roll a 22, right? If you want to make it harder, add 10. So we would jump ahead and we would go to 32, and you would instead be fighting a sentinel, which is animated armor that appears to be a statue. It's got 3 hearts, and there's 1d1 plus 1 of those. And if you want to make it easier, you would drop that 22 down to a 12, and instead you'd be fighting a strider. Large, 4-limbed insect, leaps into the air, attacks from above, etc., etc. I love that. It's so, again, just find the simplest, easiest way to do it, and do it in a good way, and that's the theme of this entire book. It's so clever. So the only way that you can fight knights, centaurs, grabbers, or dinosaurs is if you add plus 10 to your 40 plus rolls, which is cool.
I mean, and the hearts jump up on those, man. They're 5, 6.
Yeah, those are beefy. Those are beef boys.
Beef boys.
Beef boys. So inhabitant. So everything that you can be can also be NPCs. And there's a section here for age, appearance, demeanor, and their focus. So like what they're stuck on. So say you roll an old avian woman with a helpful demeanor who's focused on the weather. She might literally just be like, looks like it's gonna rain, kids. And be like, oh, rain's coming, kid. Better pack an umbrella. And like that's
rolled
it.
a young elf who's hidden their appearance, so I'm not really sure how old they are. They have an uninterested demeanor, and they're apparently focused on food. So
the hungry elf. Yeah. So I wonder what happens if you feed them. Could it be a clue?
Here, take this key.
Yeah. Fantastic. A boss section here, and it even talks about like putting the boss together. They're particularly powerful. They have special features. They usually match the dungeon's theme. They follow a certain action move set, so you can actually roll for how it works, which is dope. Love that.
It is really cool, and like it allows you to, like in a video game, predict what the bosses can and will do. And also in the, because I was reading the dungeons, the bosses in there have their like boss moveset, and I was like, oh, very cool, you know?
Yeah. I don't want to go through so they don't give a boss example. Yeah, you should. I don't want to talk about the bosses on stream, but there's not an example one, but there's 4 in the book, so I just like flipped one of those. But yeah, normally they have 5 to 8 hearts. Dang. They're usually invulnerable to regular attacks until the heroes figure out their weakness, which is dope. And when the heroes defeat a boss, it disintegrates, and they get a Trinity fragment, increase their maximum heart by 1, and fully restore their hearts and energy. So that's another one of the ways you can improve. There's no leveling up in this. There's no XP. There's no whatever. You get heart containers. You get energy containers. You beat bosses. You find Trinity fragments. That's how you do it. I love that. I love all that. So they have a double D table here of boss bad guys. So you could have like a scorpion, a mystical scorpion. Boom, you got a boss. Dunzo. There's a double D table for weaknesses. So let's say it's you have to climb on top of the scorpion. That's how you get it, because somehow it's not going to sting you. But there you go. And then there's a listed action moveset, which is a D4. So number 1 is a special attack. Number 2 is a regular attack. Number 3 is displacement, which I love. Like an action that moves a boss or the heroes. I love that. Like split the part, like move people around the board, move yourself around the board. That's really great. So they either teleport or swing you all away or something. And then number 4 is defense. Then there's a section here on putting mini bosses together, which is like it's a simplified version of the boss, which is fantastic. Great graphic here of like a Cyclops tortoise. Section here on items. There's shops, how much they cost, what they do, and stuff like that. I don't mind this one because it's like a video game, like you need to have the shop list. General item things like a particular key. Most keys open any lock, but not the particular key. That's a particular lock. Shock ring, frost ring, monster mask, all that stuff. This is a special items table here on page 30. The first 4 are the first 4 listed previously, and then it is a full D44 table, including a hover disc and a mirror shield.
Gotta have the mirror shield. What if he throws this dark energy bolt at you? You gotta block it.
Yeah, that's what you gotta be doing. There's a loot table for standard loot and chest loot. Both obviously double D tables, D44s. A whole breakdown of the overworld section, which we talked about a little bit in the front of the map. It talks about traveling and the content in the area. There's a double D table here with features and obstacles for overworld travel, and that's the entire master section. And then what you get into are 3 adventures. You got the Woodland Tomb. We're just going to go right back to the beginning. You have the Woodland Tomb, the Lake Tower, the Cavern of Flame, and the Cerulean Citadel. I love that.
Cerulean Citadel.
The forest, the lake, and the volcano before you can go back to Citadel Town and unseal the Cerulean Citadel so you can defeat the Shadow King, whose dark presence is invading the overworld. It's so good. So the entire campaign to start, to get the original 3 Trinity fragments, if that's what you want to do, are in those 3. They're incredibly well laid out. They're incredibly well done. I mean, we'll just flip through them a little bit as I scroll through. The maps are very grid-based, but with a non-linear pathway through. One thing I really love is that even though the stats are listed in the monster section, in the adventures, the stat blocks are listed for each one again, which is really cool, really well done. They're very vibey, very well laid out, very interesting. All the bosses are really cool. You get a nice flavor because you're getting 3 different kind of like land types as you go through. And it's just, they're gorgeous. And then, so I definitely read up on some of the Shadow King stuff in the back. So good. And I'm going to scroll real quick so you don't hit that, but like, so good. And then at the end, the Shadow King has been banished. Peace returns to the kingdom once more. You are the heroes of Cerulean. Your brave deeds become legend, etc., etc. And then in the back, there is a master summary, which is great, which is basics, agenda, loot, and then a rule summary, which is all the basics you need for the rule. And when you actually go through in the book, it's the same thing. In the front, you get the overworld map. And in the back, the last couple of pages are the master summary.
I don't see that very often, by the way, as well. Like a like you can see rule summaries, but a like master's or GM summary at the back of the book. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea.
Oh yeah. The last page is that, and then the in papers are your rule summary, which we said this before. I love Perils and Princesses. The one thing that I'll probably change though is that the rule summary was split across the front in page and the back in page.
Yeah.
This one is the in page and the back cover. So laying flat on your table, you have the rule summary sitting right in front of you, which is absolutely stunning. I mean, it's so okay. So that's the game. That's the game. And in the back, obviously, the back looks like more of a cartridge with everything. So we're gonna hop right into the review scores, where you'll hear all of our opinions. Game. So for those that do not know, real quick, we quantify our terrible opinions into 5 scores, each worth 10 points for a max of 50. We look at so as much of a game review this is, it's a product review as well. That's why we often wait till we get the physical in our hands to talk about it. Art and layout is the art in the book, and visually the layout in the book. So just visually how it looks. Usability is the usability of the book. Is it readable? Are the sections, in our opinion, in the right order? Are there hyperlinks? Are there bookmarks? Are there ways that make it where you can absorb the information in the book? The rule set is the rule set. If it's adapted, how well is it adapted? If it's new, do we like it? Do we feel like it is good? Originality is very it's in any aspect. Is it original? And the value is bang for your buck. How much, not only how much it costs directly, but what you get with it too. So when you buy the book, do you get character sheets? Do you get PDFs? Do you get printable stuff? Is there an app? Is there a website that where you can download more stuff for free? Are there adventures for it? All the stuff. When you get the book, do you have stuff to play? So art and layout. What are your thoughts?
Oh, obviously it's gonna suffer here because the art's. No, I'm just kidding. It's God, what a beautiful book. You know, I was at work yesterday talking to like my coworker who plays some tabletop games, mostly D&D, and I was like, you want to see how cool this book looks? And I popped it open and showed him. He's like, oh wow, this is like very good looking. Yeah, it is very good looking. Yeah, I love this book. I love the layout of it. It's incredibly readable all the way through. It's fun. It's nice to look at. It's well organized. Yeah, a fairly high score for me. I mean, this is like at the very least an 8. This is kind of 9 territory for me, man. You know?
Yeah, I mean, so this is what we're talking about. Like, as far as what you want from a book to be with visually both the art and the layout, you can't ask for more. There's every spot where there can be art, and even somewhere you didn't expect. You know, there's extra art, like even like laid on the pages with like some of the sprites, like talking to, you know, some of the little boxes.
They're great.
They're great. I mean, almost every monster in the monster section has a picture. I think if there's 54 monsters, there's probably like at least, well, that's not really 54, but you know what I mean? Like I would say at least 3/4 do. And when they don't, it's just because there's not enough room on the page. So like there's nothing for the spider just because it's like no room for it. But this page has 1, 2, 3, 4. Like. Yeah, this page has 6 monsters on it, and 4 of them have art, and the art is stunning. Like you said, the Warlock, the Shadow King piece in the beginning. I mean, artistically gorgeous. The pixel art is gorgeous. The visually, I love the colors of the layout. It's like, again, we're not talking about readability and stuff like that, but it's so nice. It's not a stark white. We talked about that before. It's very easy to read. It's beautiful. I mean, I do also think that this is. I mean, I think it's an E. I mean, I'm at about. I would go with 9 for this if you're good with that.
I would say, are you thinking a 10?
No.
Okay. Well, the 9.
Are you thinking a 10?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of brushing against it. I'm just kind of thinking what else I could possibly have.
So that's
prove it.
That's when it becomes a 10 for me, is when I don't need to ask like what it could be. I go, oh, it's because of that thing right there. It's a 10. Like it's. I think with all of our scores, we look at things and like 9 is as high as we go because 10 has to be something that we're just not going to see again. You know. And like the ones that we have given 10s for, like the book is gorgeous and the layout's gorgeous, but those have been like those have been like art books. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like Hell Knight, where it was literally put together like actual physical art that was made outside and then scanned into the book and shit. Like that's what made it a 10, you know? It's that little bit extra, but I'm super down for a 9 on this. I think it's visually like exactly what it wants to be and more than I expected. Usability.
Super usable. Like there's bookmarks, there's usability tools, things are in the order that I would expect them to be. All of the player stuff is front loaded so that the players don't have to like have a bunch of excess data that is really for the game master. There's inline hyperlinks. There is a player pamphlet for just players to go through. I think this is incredibly useful. It's a great example of what to do. It's got color-coded chapters, so even if you just open the book up, you know where you are. There's a silk bookmark. I don't know. I mean, listen, this is a great example of how to do the thing correctly.
Yep. This is a perfect example of how to do the thing correctly. I mean,
also there's rules reference at the back page of the book. Not only is there a character rules reference, there is a master rules reference, which you never see. I don't know if I've seen it before. Maybe I have once and I'm forgetting, but I can't think of another time.
Well, and the GM screen is perfect and stunning.
And the GM screen, yeah.
Love that. But as far as like usability goes, something like this is a huge boon. As I said in the we'll talk about this again in value, but like you said, the player booklet like this, if I could got 3 more of these, you could easily, I don't even need to give this to people to play the game. I can just give them this and then we'd be good. And it'll be available on the website. I mean, I think this is an easy 9. Yeah.
9.
Easy 9. It's not a 10. I'll tell you exactly why it's not a 10, because what's interesting is this is actually hits a lot of the similar notes for why Troika is a 10 for me. Mm-hmm. And the only thing, because the color-coded sections, color-coded papers, like everything hyperlinked that could possibly be hyperlinked, except for the website, is the bonus hyperlink that Troika does, where the headers and footers and page numbers take you back to the beginning of the chapter.
I tested those actually when we were going through. I was like, I didn't test headers and footers. I'm like, I do always think that that's something that it doesn't make me mad or disappointed when it's not there. But listen, if you were making a game and you're making it hyperlink rich, if in the footer or header you make the hyperlink go back to your table of contents, that is such a quality of life thing that think about it. Put it in your brains.
That's why Troika goes above me on it, is because they have all of that, and then but the thing is they have one of the links on one page takes you to the beginning of the chapter you're in, and one takes you back to the table of contents. So no matter where you go in the book, you can easily bump back to the table of contents or back to the that's where it goes. That's ridiculous. That's above and beyond that. That's not an expectation, but that's what gets you a 10 here on the weekly scroll, where it matters.
Where it matters.
I enjoy it a lot. I think it's super simple, but I think it's one of those things where it definitely, there's so many rule sets out there that edit, but not edit is in get an editor. Edit is in when you watch a lot of baking shows where they say edit, get rid of some ingredients, chop it down. That's exactly what I mean here. There's a bunch of stuff that you don't need, and this game said, what do we not need? Get rid of it. And the things we do offer it in a clear, concise, simple way that stays true to theme. I enjoy it. I looked for something to not like about the rule set in this. And first of all, it's incredibly light, I couldn't find anything that I didn't love. I mean, even the D4 thing, I was like, but then as soon as they said, well, it looks like a pyramid, I'm like, well, then it's perfect. Then it's perfect. I would have almost been mad if it was a D6 because it looks like a fucking pyramid. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I honestly actually am at a 9 for the rule set as well. I just think this is one of those that shows how clever it is through use of simplicity. And I love that it full leans into the video game aspect in every way that it possibly could. And there's not one moment of this where it doesn't contain that video game aspect. And I think it sets out to do a thing, and it does it incredibly well.
Yeah. I mean, as far as a rules bright game would be, a game that sticks to the theme. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to give a game a 9 though, because the only thing that would even make me hesitate about the 9 is when we look at other games that have got 9s, things like Necronautilus and stuff like that. I'm like, does this game compare to Necronautilus? Because that's how we've done a lot of things.
Does this game successfully do what it sets out to do? Necronautilus sets out to do very successfully the type of game it's trying to do, and it uses the rules in that way to do that thing. This game in a very similar but much different way, sets out to create a video gaming experience, and I think it really nails that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just think, you know, for a lot of the games we look at, when we look at it compared, especially specifically to rule set, that's a lot of things we come down to. It's just like, okay, let's look at the other games that have gotten 9s, and does this one compare to those kind of games? If not, it's an 8. If yes, then it's a 9. Again, we've only given one 10 before, you know, Kingdoms from Sophia Tenning. Necronalis is like a 9.6 or 9.5.
Might kind of be actually a 10.
That one, honestly, if we sat down and looked at it again, that was probably our second 10.
Yeah.
But you're good with this being a 9? This not a zine score
I mean, what do you think it is?
I think it's fantastic. Again, my only thing stopping me is just like when I think of some of the games we've given 9s to, I love that this game does exactly what it wants to do. It does it, and it does it extremely successfully. I just think that like the simplicity is one of the strengths of it, but in context of some of the other games, when you look at things like Necronalis, where like the depth within that simplicity, like the words thing to me is like, it's simple, but the amount of depth built into that.
Okay.
So
that's an approach to this conversation that I'm more receptive to. Okay.
So this does what it wants to do successfully.
8,
yeah. I think I'm at a really solid 8 for this. I think so again, to me, in my head, 10s are basically off the table. So it's the same thing with 9. Like what takes it above to get to the 9? And this, I think the simplicity is both its strength, and in this specific context might be the only thing holding it back a little bit, just because there's not just a little bit more, a little bit extra. But it does the thing that it wants to do perfectly. Originality. So this is like I think Lucas Falk posted a picture of 3 Zelda games on Twitter. So you can't say we did. This is our second one in 2 weeks. So
what was the third one? It's yeah, I gotcha. It's,
yes, I sent you. I sent
the door
you.
Locks behind you.
Yeah. I still need to grab that one. I think it's over on Spear Witch right now. I think Spear Witch and maybe Ratting Daddy has it. But and then Lucas in the chat said, I think a problem with the rules could be it's a bit too niche to play really long campaigns and things like that. It just depends. I mean, your map would have to get a lot bigger. But I do think that with this simplicity, I think it's not that you couldn't. I just think that even though it does things extremely well, I would say there's not a ton of depth where like after you've done 3 or 4 of these dungeons, I might be like, okay, I've scratched my nostalgic itch a bit. I've fallen down into lava and blinked back like 4 times. Like I could play something else. You know, that's my thought. Originality though. I mean, you know, it's a Zelda game. But you know, even if we just want to talk about like things like, because originality can mean anything. Have you seen a game that looks like a Nintendo cartridge?
No, visually, it's just so great. The book is so unique.
Yeah.
I think that's what I have to do. And I think as far as originality goes, there's a lot of genre emulation in what we talk about, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I actually love that about this space. I love when people put their own twist on it, or they pick the things about that genre or that inspiration that they like, and they're like, that's why I want to continue forward. But I think as far as this being a video game tabletop game, there's a lot of like really fun, unique moments in this that I feel like other tabletop games kind of stay away from because they don't want to feel very video game. And this, on the other hand, is like, no, we're going all in.
Yeah.
And I think it shines in that, like as far as originality goes, because people don't always love that in their own games that they make.
Yeah, which they should. I love the video game aspect. Like there's this weird, like, we can't do like video games, except like that's, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the big difference between TTRPGs and video game people. There are studios of video game people. There are professional, like thousands and thousands of professional people that do this. There are tons of game designers out there that have made their living just writing books about designing games and shit in the video game space. Point me 3 in the TTRPG space.
Yeah.
You know? They know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. And a level design in a video game and level design in a TTRPG, you can take a lot of those things from it. Where are you at with this on for originality? And I think in all the same things that you just said are where I'm at with it, is just
I know
digging
the
into the video
strong
game
7,
aspect.
light 8.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
I think
somewhere
I
in
said
there.
I'm a strong 7 on this. I think the only thing that keeps it, from me is the fact that like we can name three Zelda games like instantly, like right off the top of our head. Okay, so value. So as far as the Kickstarter goes, again, I backed it for I don't know some kroners, but I was able to get, and I'm just talking about the Kickstarter stuff. I got the regular book, what exists in the world for this game. Again, the regular book, the GM screen, the special gold book, the player pamphlet, the 2 bonus adventures, and there's a PDF of the solo mode sitting on my Dropbox right now.
Oh, right.
You got
solo rules.
So on top of all of that, just from the PDF side of what we got, we also got Heroes of Cerulean New, because there is an OG version on Twitch. Heroes of Cerulean Core. So you got PDFs of everything I just said. You get the Game Temple. You get I got Halls of Smoke and Ash, and I got Temple of Legends, and the whole overworld area section PDF. In the hero sheets, we got a printable one, we got a regular one, and then I got one that is in Excel. Bring an Excel version of the sheet. And then all of the maps in the game you get as PDFs. You get maps of all of the games in that stuff. So what you get is incredible.
Yeah.
On top of that, so the game's not physically released to the public yet. What were you looking up?
What was I
I
looking
thought
up?
you were. Yeah.
Oh. Well, so also it says this in our chat because Lucas Falk is in the chat. The PDFs are name your own price on itch right now. And also, when the physical book comes out, it will be $29.95. That is euros, so I believe that is about $32, $33 American. Which for this book, great, fantastic. It's such a good looking book that like I think that's an incredible price for it. You know?
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, I mean it's like a 70. It's like an 82-page book with all the embossing, the ribbon, everything. Yeah. Fantastic price. So yeah, like 30-something bucks.
You know, the third-party license just came out. I don't know if you said that when I was looking at the price, but yeah, the third-party license just was released this past week, and so we can look forward to having more adventure stuff come out for this game. So I think that really increases the value as well.
Yeah.
Where are you at for this?
I think it's incredible value. Again, like the book by itself has 4 dungeons in it. I got like 3 more dungeons. Yeah, it's a campaign. You got like 3 more dungeons. You got solo mode. You got the whole overworld map to do your own thing with enough guidance to build as many dungeons as you want. Like literally an infinite number of dungeons that you want. The third-party license, like you just said, like the physical release coming out. I mean, for like it's an incredible value. I mean, again, for $30, this is crazy. I'm an easy 8 at least.
I think I'm at an 8 as well.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too, though. Like the thing that might bump it up a little bit more, though, is one thing that they said: the PDF of this book, I assume the one that we're looking at right now, will be pay what you want, just like every game that they put out. And they specifically said that all of the games are pay what you want. That
might be a 9 to me.
Theoretically free, like if you don't have the money. That's a thing. Like the fact that you can get like an 80-something page PDF for free, play this game, and if the PDF is free, that means you get the entire campaign for free too.
Yeah.
Like, well, pay what you want, pay what you can.
You know?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that makes it a 9 for me.
Honestly, I think so too.
I think that really pushes it to 9.
Yeah.
So that's a
we've said that before.
Score.
Like if your game is free, it's hard not to say it's got great value.
That's a 42.
Bro, I have to do it anyway.
I know.
That's a 42. That is
it?
It is. What if I was like, no, it's a 43? You fucked up.
I would be like, no. Wow, that's crazy.
Incredible score. I mean, one of the realistically one of the highest scores we put for a regular game. I think the highest one we've ever done is a 44. I think like Necronalis is like a 43, a 44. So one of the top like 3 to 5 games we've ever looked at. I think it deserves it for a game that is this simple. It does everything it wanted to do above and beyond. It succeeded. And every aspect exceeded my expectations. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I highly recommend it. I definitely want to play this one. We're putting it in our side quest list of stuff so that Josh will run it for us. It's fantastic. Anyone that's making games out there right now should read this book so that you can write your games better.
There are a lot of good examples to take out of this book for how to do things well.
Yes. In rules writing, in rules design, in layout, in quality product. I mean, it's great. It's fantastic.
Great.
And that's it. That's us. That's our show. Lucas, thank you so much for being in chat with us. We really appreciate everyone that was here. The book is coming out within the next month. Make sure you follow Blackfisk Pub on Twitter. We'll make sure that all the links to the original on Twitch, plus, you know, their publishing site and everything is in the links wherever. You know where they are. It's the internet. You know where things are. That's it. That's us for today. You all have a wonderful day. Hunter, have a great rest of your day, bud. And we'll
Very well.
You douchebag. All right, bye.